Back Southwest Florida. Without further ado, we get a chance to talk to the mayor of Fort Myers, Randy Henderson, here on our 20th year on the anniversary. We'd like to have you here, Mr. Mayor. Let's bump our cups as
bump our cups.
Your first
Cheers.
time here as mayor.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
Now you are actually completing your first year as the mayor of Fort Myers. So. 20, I mean, you're still a little young guy to me. I've been on the air 20 years. You just done 1 year, but that's pretty cool. I understand you brought something here to show us as part of our...
Lee, congratulations for 20 outstanding years in Fort Myers. We're proud of you. I do have a little token of appreciation here. I want to share this with you.
All right.
You're so good to always provide our citizens with cups, and so I thought this would be appropriate.
Oh,
the city of Fort Myers.
I'm going to put my man Rodney under a little pressure here.
Yeah.
Rodney, if you don't mind, look at this. It says the city of Palms, Randy Henderson, the mayor. I got the mayor's cup. Next time I get the mayor's cufflinks. And we got a little treat in here for the staff.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, we appreciate that, but I want you to know it's got a nice little thing here too.
Little spoon. That's for your hot chocolate.
I want you to know that no matter how you butter me up, I'm still going to grill you on this interview.
Bring it on. Let's have some fun.
Mr. Mayor, you've been in the position 1 year.
Yep.
And I would say that as a mayor, just like many other public officials around the country, you all have inherited a lot of downturn in the economy, the real estate market, and so on. So what you're facing as a mayor and our city council and our city government here in Fort Myers is very similar to what a lot of municipalities are facing. You recently completed your 2010-2011 budget. You had to make some serious decisions there. Of those serious decisions that you had to make, what do you consider the three that were the most important?
Yeah, without question, Lee, the global economic environment has reached the entire world, and the way we have managed through these difficulties is just like the rest of the world has. We have reached out to our employees, asked them to accept lower salaries and lower pay. We have actually had to lay some employees off, sadly, and then we're cutting back expenses in every department across the board. So those are the three most significant ways we're dealing with it.
The asking employees to take a salary cut, were you surprised at the reaction and how the employees stepped up and agreed to it?
Our employees were, painful though it was, they were heroes in that regard. They recognized, for example, Lee, that the rest of the world has already gone through this, and it's incumbent upon us to follow lead, to set the example, and I'm proud of them for that.
When you look into the future, of course, before you know it, you're going to be dealing with the 2011-2012 budget. Before we fast forward up there, let's deal with what we have on the table right now. Something that you really seem passionate about. There's going to be a redevelopment project, water management project in downtown Fort Myers. Sort of describe that to our viewers, and then tell me why you're so passionate about that being a good part of economic stimulation downtown Fort Myers.
I will, Lee. The way forward in emerging out of this economic challenge is to do our best to set the table so that the private sector can show up to do business in our city. This is one of the ways in which we'll do that. If you were going to redevelop our core city, and you had a blank sheet of paper, for example, to do so, you would design it to manage its water. Simply stated, what we will do is install this water retention facility in the core of our city to gather our stormwater runoff, treat it, clean it before it goes into the Caloosahatchee, and in doing so, it will also be a beautiful aesthetic feature to inspire private sector development. Now,
when this project comes online and starts to move forward, do you see that creating jobs, and what type of, how many jobs and what levels, management or low skill level jobs?
Ultimately, we think that this facility will inspire a host of jobs in the area of construction, number one. Secondly, the economic report that was generated through the planning process indicates that we should have private sector spending and development of about $100 million, ultimately resulting in a couple of hundred permanent jobs, reasonably paying jobs in the city of Fort Myers.
That's outstanding. Now, the Red Sox Stadium, formerly the Red Sox Stadium spring training, the baseball team is no longer going to be there, so you, for all practical purposes, have this big empty stadium sitting there, and a lot of lost revenue as a result of that. Where are we now in terms of the utilization of the stadium?
Well, Thankfully, Lee, the Lee County and the state of Florida are actively engaged in reaching out to the baseball community to identify who would best be suited for this opportunity. It is an opportunity. It's being discussed in the National Baseball League, and ultimately what we hope for is it will inspire a new resident there. I will tell you that we're optimistic that something will happen. We had a state-of-the-art facility, and the good news is that the Red Sox will still be here, so we will still gather or benefit from, I should say, the economic impact that we'll have. Even though it will be on Daniels instead of the core of the city, it will still have good economic impact for us.
If you do not get the any baseball team to lease that facility, what type of major effect would that have on the city of Fort Myers?
Well, we're examining that even as we speak. The options are, if Major League Baseball doesn't show up, there are a host of leagues. For example, Roy Hobbs is an active economic generator in the way of baseball activity. That organization can use this facility to continue its activities. We have American Legion Baseball. We have a host of high school baseball tournaments and activities. So programming for that stadium is being considered now. We can examine that, and I'm optimistic.
Okay, when you talk to a lot of the average people moving around, even myself back in the day when they first built the stadium, we used to always say, why don't they have concerts in this stadium?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that before.
I have, yes.
Jazz festivals and so on. Is that on the table, or would that be based on the lease that you may have in the future?
That's part of the silver lining in this opportunity, Lee. Absolutely. Concerts will be a part of the programming. Baseball, you could even see soccer programmed out there. A host of community activities that will inspire that property, that facility, into livelihood.
Could be a blessing in disguise. You
Absolutely.
never know. Let's go to something that we alluded to earlier, the unemployment in the area, and how it directly impacts real estate, foreclosures, and so on, focusing on the city of Fort Myers. Unemployment. Do you think that it is the job of a city government to be a catalyst for the stimulation or the creation of an atmosphere that would generate employment? And if so, how do you go about that?
Lee, I believe that the city of Fort Myers has a part in this, but I do not think it is necessarily the catalyst or the driver, because we need to reach so many. We have 330 million people in America, and that's a lot of people. Unemployment is extremely high, but we do have our part in it. And the way we will deal with it is through the Division of Lee County Economic Development Department, the Horizon Council, and our own economic development efforts in the city of Fort Myers, to include a new library that's going to be built, the water feature we've already talked about, McCullum Hall, a host of activities that will indeed hire people.
Okay. Many have said that a lack of employment often has a lot to do with the red tape that a city or a county might have in place that keeps businesses from not wanting to relocate or to do business in that particular municipality. Do you think that the city of Fort Myers is user-friendly for businesses?
Lee, thank you. That's a great question. I have tasked our city manager, together with the council. The council and myself have tasked city manager and his leadership to knock down any impediment that is at a discretion for our city, and we have made great strides in that. We have a long way to go, but we're on it. Our city manager and his leadership are on it, and we're going to knock those barriers down and be more friendly.
Now, there are many reports by experts that say, hey, the real estate market here in Fort Myers is almost at the point where maybe in a year or two it will start to stabilize, and as it stabilizes, then prices will start to become where they are should be. And it may attract a lot more tourists from the north to come down and purchase reasonably inexpensive property. But right now you have these short sales, foreclosures that are rolling down and affecting your tax base and affecting your revenue. How do you foresee managing that piece in the next couple of years?
Lee, every time a new sale occurs, we're that much closer to getting back to stability and equilibrium. What we hope for is that the announcement across America that anyone who is interested in coming to this area, today is the time to do it, because the bargains are there, the buying opportunities are there, and we're seeing that happen. People know it, they're coming, and they're spending money, and they're going to fill our real estate up.
As a city mayor, 1 year in the position, I'm sure as a city councilman you had some concept of what it would be like to be the mayor of a city. has that concept that you had come to fruition, or is it a totally different animal?
Yeah, I will tell you, Lee, that it's largely what I expected, but it's more work. I am amazed at the number of documents I have to sign, but I'm having a great time as mayor.
The next 3 years, let's say, I know you're going to be a frequent guest on the show, but let's say 2 years from now, you're sitting here talking to me, and we're looking at where the city of Fort Myers is at that point. What is your hope that the city of Fort Myers will be at that point?
Lee, every mayor, council person wants to come into this world and identify where it is and exit from it, leaving it a better place than when they found it. When I look ahead, that is my goal. If I can look at our situation and say, today, our city is better than it was 2 years ago, that's very gratifying. That is the goal.
When we look at core areas of the city that need to make sure that they're in place, whether it be the police department, whether it be water and sewage, and those types of core things that we expect to have, how do you feel that we are now with the budget for crime prevention and for core services in the city?
The way I like to say it, Lee, is we are stable and we are reliable. And so we are managing our resources conservatively and as best we can. And I do believe that we can maintain the level of services that we're providing in a time looking forward in the future, at a time when we can begin to expand them again. But right now we have contracted. We are meeting the obligation. I'm confident in our ability and our ability to deliver service.
With about $4.8 million allocated for the renovation of McCullen Hall, historic building located on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. Great jazz artists played there, B.B. King, Duke Ellington, and the like.
Yeah.
What does McCullen Hall, what is the renovation of McCullen Hall going to do for the city of Fort Myers?
Lee, that example of McCullum Hall will serve just as the core of our city has served. It will be an impetus for economic development and stability. We've seen it happen. There's no guesswork in this. There's tangible evidence. McCullum Hall will be a mixed-use facility, redeployed, what we like to call is in the real estate world, adaptive reuse in a way that inspires economy, life and vitality, restaurant activity, perhaps retail activity, and it will be spectacular.
When we walk into McCullen Hall, what can we expect to see?
You're going to see a modern facility with an emphasis of days gone by in the way of B.B. King, Duke Ellington, and those that you have mentioned earlier, reminiscent of a day gone by that can be enjoyed today in a contemporary way, full of life and vitality.
The downtown. We talked about it earlier. Let's go back to downtown. Got your nightclubs down there. You got your nightlife. Seems that it's moving, and it seems like it's jogging as opposed to full sprint.
Got it.
But it's certainly not standing still as it was, say, 4 years ago. What's your thoughts about downtown, the River District, and the whole pomp and circumstances around different things happening?
Lee, the council, myself as mayor, we couldn't be happier. This has been a decade long of work to try to inspire this kind of activity. It is driven largely by arts and cultural affairs, together with music and a new event called Music Walk, and they are driving the renaissance of our downtown. It is economically feasible. It's going to get better before it gets worse, and that we celebrate that. Yes, we are in a bit of a jog. Sooner or later, we'll be into a full sprint. What we need is diversity of opportunity in the way of entertainment, families, and eating opportunities and entertainment opportunities that are outside just the pure bar scene, for example. That plays a part of it, but it's not the only part. So we want diversity.
You want more families coming down using, because when I've come down there to various events at night when the streets are blocked off, and it's just a beautiful setting on the river, and taking advantage of the whole ambiance of that. The Dr. Martin Luther King Parade. Yeah. Did I see you marching in this year?
No, not this year.
Not yet. Last year.
The Easter Parade.
Easter Parade. Okay. Come straight out of Dunbar, right to downtown Fort Myers. What do you think that does in terms of culture diversity and race relations in terms of having the large African American community come across the tracks.
It makes a statement, Lee. It makes a statement that we're all together in one community. It's beautiful, it's friendly, it's safe, and it says to the world, everyone is welcome here, and that's what a city wants to hear.
The demographics that you are mayor of, East Fort Myers, Dunbar, large demographic, culturally diverse groups of people that elected you to be the mayor of the city. What is positive that comes out of a culturally diverse city?
Well, Lee, this sets our city apart from other cities in the way of cultural richness and diversity of life experience. And that contributes positively to our city. We welcome everyone there, and I think that's evident in the way that we manage the city.
City Council now has 3 African Americans on the City Council. First time in the history of the city of Fort Myers. Do you, as a city mayor, do you see that having diversity on the City Council brings a great deal of information and sensitivity to different things that you're discussing as it relates to different people?
There's no question, Lee, it creates a balance in the way that we lead. What I respect most about my colleagues is you interview every one of them, not one of them sees color. What we see is a unified effort joined together for the betterment of this city, and that's what we celebrate.
City Hall has gone under some major renovation. I mean, just when you physically look at the city of Fort Myers, City Hall, the building, wonderful renovations. Do you think that was the best way to spend the money at the time?
I do, Lee, because it sets the table. It sets the standard for a city that wants to be modern, it wants to be professional, safe, and fun to be around. When you create that kind of environment, people want to be in that environment, and it will draw activity, life, and vitality.
When you move around the country, or when you deliberate and read and go to various mayor meetings or administrative meetings, what's the perception of Fort Myers?
At the recent U.S. Conference of Mayors in Oklahoma City, when people find out I'm from Fort Myers, Lee, it's, oh, Mayor Henderson, I've been there. I love your city. I want to go back. And that's what we hope to hear all across America. Thomas Edison said it, 90 million people are going to find Fort Myers. I think he was a little short on the number.
Well, Mr. Mayor, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show.
Thank you.
I'm going to cue our director, let him know that we're going to be going to a break and it's short. But keep up the good work, and we look forward to having you back in the future, okay?
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks for joining us on our 20th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Okay, the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like the mayor of Fort Myers and all the fine people over there at the city of Fort Myers who are doing it. We'll be right back.